Hello! So it is Tutorial Tuesday, and I'm going to show you really quick how I do my concealer, and I'm going to talk to you about some other things about concealer. So I've already got my eyes done. Obviously you can see that, I hope. And I've got my foundation on. I always do foundation and then concealer, because if you're going to put something all over your face, you should probably put the other stuff on after so you don't mess it all up, and it's just kind of backwards. So, what I normally use, let me find it here. Alright, here we go. A lot of times I like to use, at least for my skin, I like to use either a cream, this one twists up, I like to use like a cream stick concealer, and these are also pretty good for blending. They give you more of a full coverage. The ones that you see that are like, they look like a lip gloss tube and they have a wand that come out, a lot of times those are more of a, not sheer, they're just not as opaque, and they don't cake up as much, so they don't look as thick. So it depends on what kind of coverage you want. If you want something that's really thick, I would say use, like I use my my Touch Cream foundation. I use that if I need like to really cover something up, because this is pretty thick. If you only have this, you can put some moisturizer or primer in it, and that'll thin it out so that you don't have such a thick coverage. Also, depending on your skin type, I get pretty oily. Sometimes I use a powder. I like having a liquid or a cream better, just because I can set it with powder, whereas I feel like using a powder concealer, it might come off easier. You can just use like a regular powder. This one is the Moonstruck Minerals. That one is in Fabulous. Let's see. And these ones I showed you before, these are CoverGirl True Blend Fix Stick. They're pretty good. I got these. I would have gone with a shade lighter and a shade darker. They just didn't have them. For contouring and highlighting, I like to go 2 shades down and 2 shades up for my concealer, or my contouring and my highlighting. So, the biggest kind of basic rule for getting rid of, I'm going to concentrate on under eye circles and stuff like that. Mine aren't really dark, and especially because I have foundation on. And I slept a lot last night. Normally they're kind of dark. What you normally would do, I'm going to use this one. It's a different CoverGirl one. It's just a Cover Stick concealer. It's in Ivory. It's a little more yellow than this one. I think you can tell. It's a little more yellow, and that works for my skin because I'd like to even it out. I don't know if in the camera you can see, but I feel like I'm a little bit splotchy and stuff, and only a little bit, but I like the yellow tone more for my skin tone. So, my mirror's over here, so, over here. What you normally would do is draw a triangle, and you would go over on this side, and then draw a triangle down. But I'm going to be doing some contouring, so I don't want to have concealer all down here, because I'm going to do contouring in this way. So I'm going to do concealer, the light highlighting shade, I'm going to do it in my forehead, and then I'm going to go in here, and I just kind of go down like that. Now, if you were only doing concealer, like just doing foundation, concealer, and then running out the door, you would want to draw it in more of a triangle. The reason for that is it doesn't make just right here light. It kind of brightens up this whole area, the whole like center of your face. Okay, so I'm just doing that. I'm going to blend it out. This is my little makeup sponge guy. I didn't wet it. Normally you should, but I forgot to. And it works just fine. I'm just blending a tad, a little bit. So I always start at the center of my face. They always say when you're doing makeup, especially when you're doing like your full face and everything, that the middle of your face should have the more concentrated, the thicker, more coverage. The reason being is you don't want to have pancake face and just have it all be makeup. So you want to start here and blend it all out. And then we use my flat side just to make sure we are all good here. Now, something else that I was thinking about, if you have puffiness under your eyes, get this here. Okay. If you have puffiness under your eyes or around, just any kind of general puffiness, what I like to do, my favorite tip for dealing with that, is to use a liquid concealer. So either the kind that comes in a little brush. I don't use the brush, you know, the twist up kind. I don't use that. I would just pump the stuff out. Or the kind that looks like a lip gloss tube with the sponge applicator on the end. My favorite thing to do, like if you've got like the under eye, like the bags right here, and they're like your skin gets a little bit crepey, or if you have dry skin, I would use, like right here, I would use a liquid concealer, and then you take a little bit of a highlighting powder, or if you have a liquid highlighter or anything like that, something with a little bit of shimmer and that's very light. The reason being, if you use a powder, it's going to sit on top of those wrinkles and eventually settle in, and that would just make it even more pronounced. And you want it to reflect light. You don't want it to be matte and draw light in, so then it just looks like covered up bags. You want it to look like they're not even there. So sometimes I do that, but I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I don't really have bags to cover up normally. I mean, I've got right here, like, you don't really get puffy though. You just get dark. Now another thing to talk about is color. If you would remember art class back in, I don't know, I learned it in like 3rd grade, we started learning it. Go back to then when you learned the color wheel. And if you have like purpley or beige, or not beige, purpley or like reds in your skin, you don't necessarily want to use a beige concealer because that could just make it look more ashy or dull. What you want to do is go across from that. So say I have purple, but I really, really want to cover up, like purple's a bluish color, you know, purple and blue. I really want to cover it up. I'm not going to use beige. I'm going to use something that has a peachy color, because that color right there is very blue and purple. So you want to go across from that and get something that's more orangey, not orange, something that's more in the orange family that's going to bring some warmth to your skin, because that'll bring it, it's almost like a negative up to a positive. It'll bring it from being cool to being warmer, like the rest of your face, hopefully, if you do it right. Also, sorry I'm kind of all around the place. I have a lot of stuff I want to cover. Oh, yes. Okay, so if you've got zits, I get them all the time. I've always have. You're going to use green. So that's with the color wheel too. If you've got something red, even if like your under eye stuff tends to be a little bit more red. I mean, some people, everyone's got different skin tones. If you get to be more red, or if you have rosacea, or if you just have some broken capillaries and they're more pinkish, you're going to want to use a green. That's not saying get this in green and do all of your concealer everywhere. That's saying, say I've got a zit. I'm going to take a little angled brush or a precision brush, and I'm going to, say if this was green, I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to just go off the top and put it right on top of the zit, and then just kind of blend it in. And then you want to take a concealer powder, usually, or whatever other concealer that's working for you, for your skin tone and everything. And you're going to want to put it on top. Don't rub it in, though. Just kind of pat it on. So it just kind of counteracts it even more. Another thing that I really like is when they use, I'm going to keep going putting the rest of my makeup on while I talk. Another thing that I like is I use more yellowy colors. It's just what I've tended to do. Like this is a lot more yellow than this one. I switched from Frisky to Fabulous because this one has more yellow in it. The reason being is that it tends to even out your skin tone more. Even if you don't have a lot of purple, because I know that's opposite from it, having the overall yellow, unless you've already got very yellowy skin, is going to help even out a lot of the more sallow and dull areas, but it's not going to kill the warmth because yellow can be kind of warm. So let's see, where am I with this? Okay, concealer's done, and now I need to do my bronzer. I'm not going to do the concealer contouring and everything. I'm just doing easy with bronzer because that's all I feel like doing today. Let's see. Oh, and around the nose, if you have redness around the nose, like even if you just have a cold, or I have allergies, so I'm like, right now I'm starting to get like all itchy and nasally and stuff. I think the best product to use around the nose, because even when you've got, even if you have dry skin, your nose is like the first place to get oily. I would always use a cream concealer. That's going to be like the same foundation of a cream, or the same texture, whatever, of a cream foundation. Just kind of like a very thick. They also say that you should use one that's oil-free. A lot of them are right now. And you should be using a wet sponge, like a beauty blender or those latex wedges. You wet it first, squeeze it out really, really good, and then you pat it on top of the cake that the concealer comes in, and then you just kind of press it on, roll like this. The reason being, if there is any oil in it, if the sponge is wet, it's not going to pick up all of the oils. It's going to pick up the makeup, and since it's got the water in the sponge, it's not going to pick up all the oils. So you'll still get the thick coverage of the makeup, but it won't be all oily and get all goopy by noon. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you guys? I think that's really it. I'm going to keep doing my makeup, and if I remember anything. Sorry, I finished that stuff a lot quicker. I probably talked really fast, but hey, I mean, whatever. If you have any other things that you want to know about, like if you would like some even more info on what type of concealer you think would be good for your skin type, like if you have really dry skin and you'd like some tips or anything, comment below and let me know, because I can send you a message or comment on there or whatever. You can send me a message, and my email is on there too. It's themakeupchicksvt@gmail.com. You can find me on Pinterest and on Instagram, all over the place. So if you have any kind of questions like that, you can always reach out to me, because I'm always around to answer questions, especially about makeup, because I love makeup. So, right. Oh, how did I forget this? Number one thing to do after you're done with your concealer, some people do concealer, then set it, and then do the rest of the makeup, and then set it again. I set it all at the same time. What I mean by set it is you want to get a translucent powder. This one is just CoverGirl. I think like every makeup company makes their own concealer powder. Oops, just spilled it all. There's a lot of companies that have it, but I just tend to like this one for some reason. I've always gone to it. I think I just, whatever, it's at the store, it's cheap, and I don't need one that's super, super special, because this one just works for me. So, I'm going to do my blush very quickly, and I'm just going to use the Unique Sweet blusher. Oh, here's a bonus tip. If you're looking for the best blush for your skin tone, look at your lip color. You want to get the blush that matches this color the most. The reason being is you want it to look natural and not like crazy. That being said, say I have pink lip liner on, and I don't really want to do like a berry color on my cheeks because I've got like hot pink lips and, kind of a neutral eye. I'll use the one that's more pink. Just put it on lightly and, sensibly. Don't go crazy with it, because it's already not the exact matching color. So if you put too much on, it'll really stand out. So I just got some in the cap, just swirling around to get the brush. And I go very lightly and then go up here. I always get on this side for some reason. Okay, so that's done. Put my powder over here. Now this powder can get messy. Some people don't like it. You can also get translucent powder in a compact and use your big puffy brush, or you can also use like a foam applicator or a sponge, a beauty blender. I tend to just like brushes. I like how they feel. And it's kind of fun to watch them and like wash them and get them all clean and put them in the holder, and you can see all your brushes. So I don't know. Apparently I'm a makeup hoarder. So I always tip my head back so that all of the powder doesn't fall off, because this stuff does go on pretty loose. I mean, it's a loose powder. As you saw, it fell right out of the container. So I always go on like that. And I always blend it up into my hairline, just so I can make sure I get all of it. Put a little more in. And make sure you really work it into your nose. Well, I do, because I don't want to be shiny. All right. Now, there's also ways you can use concealer to make your, like your décolletage stick out more, like if you have like a boat neck shirt on or something like that. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with concealer to almost change the shape of your face, or like all up around here if you want to get a certain look. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I can do another tutorial on it, or I can message you. We could even do a Skype or a FaceTime. I love doing lessons like that. So let me know, and we're all done here. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.